Vital's Bee Practice podcast is proudly sponsored by Maxis, BergTech, and Industry 9.
You know, before we start this, what what happened to your tractor yesterday? Because you sent us a
Trying to mow the
photo of just
lawn.
your
and
tractor. First of all, what do you have a tractor for what?
My lawn, mow it.
Just house things?
Yeah, I have to mow my lawn.
Oh,
like,
okay.
if you have this much property, you have to have a tractor. Like, there's no other way.
How much property do you have?
Shit that has to be moved. Not a lot. Like, small acreage. It is technically almost a farm in the state of Tennessee. I'm like a half acre short of being a farm.
We'll call it a farm.
Yeah. But I was mowing the lawn, turned left, tucked the front, lost the wheel, and before I could get the clutch pushed in and hit the brake, I was in the creek.
Oh.
Yeah. And then the thing was like waterlogged. So like once you get something stuck in the mud, there's like the mud like has an amount of suction to get it out. So I was like trying to lift it. When I got it with you, I lifted the front. I got a telephone pole across the creek, lifted the front out with the bucket, but I was still. So if I put it down, it would roll. So I was just stuck.
Is it still stuck?
Did we get it
There's
out?
still a telephone pole in my front yard, but it is out. And then Ben Wilson.
I just love that you had a telephone pole handy.
I was trying to pull it out with my sprinter, and then we got the sprinter stuck, trying to pull the tractor out. So I was sitting in the front yard drinking a beer with both of my shit stuck in the front yard. I just tractor was not coming out. Just fully like against the road. Everybody's just driving by. Beep beep. It's just, and my tractor is literally, you cannot see the front wheels. It's in a mud hole. Rolling. Like at one point it
a typical Thursday in
jump
Tennessee.
off. Like I was like thought it was gonna roll face down in the mud. And then Ben's like,
that sounds
I'm
terrifying.
stuck. And I'm like, yeah, it was actually, yeah, it's cool. It's really awesome to have your brand new piece of equipment rolled in the creek. That would be the best case scenario.
Yeah.
I got it out at about 10 o'clock last night. Finished mowing.
That's a long day.
Finished mowing after.
What have you?
I had a big day, like 10 runs, and then rolled the tractor into the creek. And
What were you doing the past 2 days? Testing at Windrock?
Mhm.
What are you guys testing?
Suspensions and frames.
Well, we'll get into all that.
We can do it.
We know the people need the Dakotah Life update, but also like the Dakotah Mountain Bike Racer update.
Both. We can give it to them.
Well, if you clicked on this podcast, you know you're listening to Vital's Bee Practice podcast. I'm Jason Schroeder. I have Tanner Stevens and Dakotah Norton with me. No Austin Hackett-Klopp today because he's, there's so much that's happened to all of us between the last time we did one of these and now. Austin moved from Colorado to California with a new job at Specialized, or a different role with Specialized. Tanner doesn't live in Cardiff anymore. Tanner quit his job, which I feel like we already went over, but like you still quit your job. You're being producer guy now, There's so much that's happened, but yeah.
The only thing that hasn't changed is
I've been super busy.
I'm still doing the same thing.
I mean, we're all sort of doing the same thing, but shit, I feel like literally, like we were kind of mentioning last time I think we did this, you were literally in your trailer building your house, and you're in a house right now that has lights, hopefully a heater or AC.
I do have AC because there was a lot of days filming these podcasts. I had no shirt on and it was like 95 degrees in my camper and I was sweating. So I'm in a temperature controlled environment.
Yeah, Dak's inside now. We got a house cat on our hands.
I own a dog.
Love it.
I did get a dog.
Jeremy.
I saw that. That's cool. Yeah, life's been moving on, and our whole plan to do this like weekly has just really been going great. Classic. What is it? The overpromise, underdeliver. It's what you want. But yeah, the good news is that World Cup start in like a month, and I'm pretty sure there's like 3 or 4 kind of right off the bat before that gap in the middle of the year. So we're going to be forced to do this quite regularly coming up, which makes it sound like we don't want to do this, but
I wish I got to talk to you guys more often.
Dude, I know. I mean, really, at the end of the day, like, I'm the only one who works for Vital, so I guess it is on me to be, like, planning all this, but the last, like, 6 weeks have been hectic. Like, I don't race bikes anymore, but, like, I went to Europe and fucking was gone for a week, and then there was Sea Otter, and then there was another press camp.
I want to know why I didn't go to Sea Otter.
It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. You get out there.
I mean,
there were some photos of you on the
miss
internet,
anything.
like, looking like me, full couch, just, like, high bars,
or Tanner.
and a face of fear. You. I seen a video photo of you on the internet. Front page.
Front page of the internet.
Testing. You're just me now.
Dude, he tests more than you, Dak. J-Bell's out there every day testing.
Yeah, I'm not really trying to, like, you know, you're probably testing with the goal of, like, achieving something or, like, moving the needle forward. I'm just trying to, like, keep people on the internet from complaining too much, you know? I'm trying to ride shit, give people some honest opinions, and, you know, you can't please everyone, but I'm not riding and testing for me. It's for everybody else.
This bike's
Someone's
better,
gotta
but
do
we
it.
don't know our sag.
Dude, it is a dark, deep hole. Yeah, testing bikes.
But
Because everybody thinks they know what they want, and what they think they know, they're very passionate about.
oh yeah,
And I'm just like, dude, as long as you're, like, having fun, I don't give a shit how high the bottom bracket is. It might not be a popular opinion, but, like, you know, as long as it's working and it's working as intended, I'm pretty hyped.
it's testing
what?
season.
This is gonna get-
Lenzerheide is coming up, so
It's true.
Woo.
Before this banter gets too off track, big shout out Industry 9, BergTech, Maxis. They're the ones who make this banter possible. And, you know, if you like what we do here, please put in an effort to support those brands. Because A, they make cool shit, and B, they are helping this podcast move along each time we do it. But
please like and
All right.
subscribe.
we started it. Yeah, dude. I don't really know. I've never really said that, which I'm proud of.
Like, comment,
but,
subscribe.
you know,
And share
I
our
think you can
video.
listen to these on all of your. You can listen to these on all your popular podcast platforms, and I don't really know how you subscribe to most of those these days. I guess you subscribe to them. I don't know. Go on vitalmtv.com, please, and just click everything, and click links.
Click around.
Yeah, stay within our world.
Just
It's
keep
great for
clicking.
analytics.
Just click,
Yeah.
please.
All right. Well, we sort of were going into how life has been moving along for all of us, but the reality is that everybody is listening really gives a shit about what Dakotah's up to because he's a professional downhill racer. So let's get the updates on, like, I honestly don't really remember when the last time we recorded was. It has to have been like 2 months ago, but, like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, this was like before. We're going to get into, oh yeah, what are we talking about today? This whole podcast is just going to be kind of going over all of the races that have happened this offseason, because this offseason's been super long, and so there's been quite a few events that, you know, most of the top athletes have been attending to kind of be prepared for the first race next month. So I figured we should, you know, talk about who's done what, who's looking hot, some predictions for the first round. But yeah, so I mean, where are you at, dude? What's been going on? How's the house? How's the new bike? How's the body? Your mind seems all over the place. We don't need to ask about that, but
my brain is pea soup at this moment in time, but
sounds delicious.
Consistent, at least.
consistently.
There's a good
I
consistency.
think that's actually good for racing bikes because you have to just shut the brain off and go.
Jackson
only
also
do
might
that.
have a little bit of pea soup in it.
Insanity.
That's a compliment.
Yeah. So, house. I am sleeping in my house. I do not have my CO, but it's hot outside, so I'm sleeping in it. We're getting close, man. We're about to pass our final electric, and hopefully soon here I'll be able, if I can get a couple more things done, I can get all the tools out of my house, because like I pretty much just have a mattress on the floor and a desk, and that's it. That's my life. And I'm trying to sweep up all the pieces of all the stuff that everybody else dragged their feet on before doomsday comes in 10 days and I leave for the year. So yeah, doomsday is quickly approaching. With trying to balance that, I have been trying to test a new bike. We actually got our bike that we're supposed to be racing at the World Cups this weekend and rode it for the first time. So we got a cool 4 weeks till the World Cup, and we're kind of scattering again to get the bike set up, just because of how many updates we've had, and this is the last update, hopefully, before things go to production. So yeah, because that's kind of exciting. So I've just been stuck into suspension setup. Like I've been super passionate about ride feel and trying to find comfort and support, try to make the thing better on small bump and big hits. That's always fun to try to figure out. So
I love that marketing of suspension. Supple off the top, great hold up in the middle, excellent bottom out support.
Wow. Yeah.
Bing bang bongo,
bing bang boom.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just
sold.
been.
I'll take two.
But for the low price of $69.99 for the rest of your life. Yeah, we've just been doing the suspension tuning, and it's been super fun to get really stuck into that and try to learn as much as I can. I mean, I don't think I've done a run and not changed a clicker in 2 months. So just learning, and that's been super cool, and the new bike is really good. So hopefully get a couple more days on that before we go World Cup racing.
Sick. You said you have your newest bike you just got like within this last week?
Yeah, I rode it for the first time this last week. So I've rode downhill the last 7 days in a row. I think we took like a little hiatus there in the middle, but I think I did like 70 or 80 runs in the last week. So just been plugging away at that. All those dudes raced the downhill southeast, and I was just lapping on the roughest track on the mountain, trying to go through that whole process of getting that bike set up and get really comfy.
What are like the main differences on this newest version of the bike compared to the last one?
Weight.
That was one of my questions. Is like
and geometry changes.
Yeah, like
but the suspension linkage is all the same. Pivot points are the same. Leverage is the same. How
much does I'm assuming when you say weight, are you messing with actually where the weight is on the bike, or just literally trying to make it lighter?
Just literally making it lighter.
What's it weigh now? Like what was it and what's it now?
The goal is to be at 38 pounds, which isn't, I would say, light for a downhill bike by any means. But that is what we're trying to get to, and we are over that at the moment. On the last.
What was your bike last year, though?
Dude, it was heavy. The thing was a sled.
It was a tank.
It was like 40-some pounds, like 44 pounds or 45 pounds or something crazy like that.
That's insane, dude.
Love to see it.
Yeah, just because of the tooling in the seat tube. So like there was a lot of weight in the bottom of the seat tube, so it was really expensive for them to like drill out the bottom of the seat tube. So with our suspension design, so it just had a ton of metal around the bottom bracket, which honestly was sick for shredding, but I was like a second back at the first split always in road. I could ride the first split, like usually those are the flattest part of most of these tracks, and I could absolutely shred for my life and not really be on pace, but then we'd make it up in the rough stuff. So that's been the whole thing, is moving in the direction of being a little more well-rounded, working on those free speed and connector sections and pumping berms, that kind of stuff. So the focus hasn't necessarily been on making the bike that's absolutely the most efficient in the rough stuff. Like we're 95% as good in the rough, but more of a well-rounded platform. And with that, prototypes are genuinely heavy. We rode the Gen 1 of the prototype, and now we're moving to Gen 2, and that should be closer in the direction of a production bike, which was significantly lighter and changed all my suspension setup was completely different, going to a lighter bike. So like last year I was like completely closed on damping, like it's like all the clickers fully closed, just to try to hold.
You talking about shock mostly?
The weight. No. All
like
of it.
Shock and fork.
We were like way oversprung and closed on a lot of the compression. So now we're able to get some more sensitivity out of the bike. And I'm springing down I sprung down going to the new bike, and then just because of weight, and then I've sprung down again. Like I was running a 575 last year, and I'm off on a 500, and the suspension platform is pretty similar. Granted, it's a bit different, but even from the Gen 1, I was able to go down 25 pounds in spring to the Gen 2.
Did you ever ride the drilled out one?
Like the drilled out one that they've been posting?
Like two renditions ago, I think it was.
Like the one that John had?
Yeah, the one that John had.
I don't think so. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I just rode. But
no, he had one that was all like BMX'd out. That was like
super light.
Nope,
yeah, didn't make its way to me.
I think it was. They just went to town.
Our test rider's been on it. John Hall test rider, SoCal Speed Team.
Dude, John is the ultimate test dude. The ultimate test rider.
Very true.
Yeah, it's been cool. So, but with that being all this bike testing, it takes so long to set a bike up, and then there's obviously a cost to that. And this is like the most important time of like my training for the year, which I haven't been able to do a lot of that because we've been spending so much time working on the bike. So there's definitely like, there's things so like we just spent 7 days riding downhill, and now I'm taking a day off because I'm absolutely cooked, and you got to take some time off in the middle of that. So like that blows your whole fitness training program out, and we're going into the first race. So this will be like my last week of like big prep before I go to the Mountain Creek National and then straight over to Europe to ride the bike in Europe ahead of time.
What when you say that right now is like the most crucial part of your training, what does that mean? Like, are you trying to like ramp up going into the first race?
Yeah, so you're just working on like the sharpening the tip of the spear, so to speak. You're working on like super high-end fitness and high-end strength. So the weights are usually pretty heavy in the gym, and then you're also doing a lot of really hard intervals that are high heart rate.
And then who are you training with now? Are you still with the guy out in your
I'm with them in Millway. So I made that switch earlier in the season. And just because I thought any of my training before was bad, but just I felt like I needed a little bit more of downhill specific training. But all like my guy came more from like the XC side of things, but also he's around he's at every World Cup, and there's a bit more. That he can do more than my coach can. So made that switch, and also so I'm on the same program as Frida, which is pretty cool. So a lot of our training is pretty similar, and that makes like not similar as in we do the same things on the same days, but it's just nice to be able to live with another athlete and be able to talk about what the workouts were like, things we think we can improve on, and just kind of be on the same program, so to speak. And she got a ton stronger working with him. So she was super happy. So yeah, I made the switch.
How's Frida doing?
Yeah, she's it was pretty rough like 3 weeks ago, just because she went back to working full time, like 5 days a week. So it's kind of hard to explain to people like the recovery coming back from like a heavy concussion, but essentially like you take a dude that like rides say zone 2 cardio for 2 hours 2 days a week, and then you ramp him to 5 days a week working for 4 hours a day or whatever, doing a 4-hour ride every day of the week. Like obviously you have to like build back the same way you do with fitness training, and like you'll like get fitter and then you have to take like a rest week, and like she'll have to like take a day off and recover, or 2 days off and recover. So it's similar to like training and fitness. Like she's like slowly building up. So now she's 5 days in like at work, but also like she's training 1 to 2 times a day every day. So she doesn't exactly have a full day off for her brain, which is really hard because she works a full-time job and she's riding downhill on the weekends. So like her brain actually never really gets a chance to just shut off, which has been pretty difficult for her to manage, just because she's always doing math and looking at numbers on the computer all day and running models and such. So
whatever really smart people
do. Yeah. Just staring at numbers and letters on the computer all day. And the biggest issue from her concussion, as we talked about, was her eyes being able to focus. So if you can imagine, reading is really hard just because her eyes have to move together to read it, and she's just staring at a computer screen all day at work. So it's been tough, but she's getting better. And she said like this week she did 5 runs back to back, like on the straight back onto the shuttle, and she was able to not have any spots in her vision. And she's like, I can actually ride for the first time ever because I can actually see again. Like before she could ride, but she couldn't really see what she was riding over, which is terrifying for me to think about. And she's like, and it's just kind of like hard for her because this is kind of her shot at the World Cups, and kind of her chance. So she's obviously trying to finish her PhD, which she finished her qualifier the other day, which is awesome because then she's moving towards dissertation. But with that being said, this is like her one shot to make it at the World Cups, and she's kind of back against the wall trying to manage both of those things while trying to manage just living daily life like a normal human being. So it's been difficult, but we're progressing. She feels confident she can do a race run now, maybe not to her peak potential before she got hurt, but she's confident she can go and ride down the track and race in a safe manner.
Man,
that's the 3 to 9 update.
Yeah, that's a lot to manage. So,
dude, it's crazy.
Props to her.
Yeah. At least she's in a little more dialed place to get better sleep now. We're out of the camper, bud.
Dude.
I know. Not very Tennessee of you guys anymore, but I'm glad you guys are at home.
Container. I just got a shipping container dumped in my front yard, and it's orange. So I'm very Tennessee.
You gonna paint Home Depot on the side of it?
Put a big a big T, dog.
Big T, bowls, baby, bowls.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's get some orange and white checkers on it.
All right, I have one last kind of question, because going back to your new bike and setup and all that, last year you guys like pretty much were at the first round trying to figure out the new bike at the time, right? Like wasn't there something like that where you were like kind of up to like the last minute trying to? So do you feel
I think
better
we got like
this year?
3 days on the bike before we had to race it at a World Cup. 4 days. Well, we went to Portugal, so we had 2 weeks on the bike, and it looks like it's a similar scenario this year.
But do you feel better on it since at least all off season you've been on a similar version of the bike, or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some things changed. Like it's not as big of a gap to go to the new bike than it was in the past, just because before we were on like a modified version of whatever we were riding that was put together from multiple different sources to get used to the bike. And then the bike actually ended up being like significantly different than our first proto. The mailman's here. I got an update. We got FedEx. We're gonna have to hit pause. Jeremy is freaking out.
Okay.
Hold on. All right.
Man,
I'm
Jeremy
back in
is
this.
not having it.
Dude, Jeremy has become very protective. He's going to have to lose his little nuggies here soon. His nuggies go bye-bye. The old nuggie to eat. So, I think that, yes, it is nice to go into the World Cups being on something more familiar. But at the same time, we are racing at the highest level with the best dudes on the planet that are very dialed. But I don't know, I think you guys know how difficult that is. So, like, it's hard to not, like, I'm pretty good at just, like, jumping on something and riding as fast as I can and shutting my brain off in a race scenario. And I a lot of the time, I don't feel what the bike feels like when I'm racing. You kind of just try to anticipate your setup and send, but it is not confidence inspiring. So, of course, there's that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, with the older prototype, when you guys were kind of just jumped on and went straight to racing, did you find it easy to get to that like 80 to like 85%
Yeah,
range?
for sure.
Like, just make big tweaks, get to that 80 to 85%.
Getting it close is easy.
And then now,
but making it work in a race
and then now
scenario,
is it
like, you kind of
have you found yourself going down the wrong way with things? Like, now that you're like, all right, we're making these like fractions of percentage like gains, and you could like so easily just go down the wrong way with something and like kind of chase your tail, since it's like smaller changes that you might not feel after 1, 2, 3 runs, and then you're like going down that way for 5, 6 runs, half a day, an entire day, and you might be just chasing your tail.
Absolutely. Like, that does happen.
Okay.
Like, sometimes I ride, and it's just hard when I ride like the same place all the time. Like, dude, I can adjust my riding ability at Windrock to ride down that mountain so easily, and that's the only place I've rode this year. Like, because we don't why would I fly to around the country or fly to the other side of the world to ride a bike, set a bike up that I'm not going to be racing on? So I'm going to Morzine before, but the stuff I can ride here at Windrock, like, you go to like a real track and the thing like will blow through and hit the bottom like so fast. Like, luckily we flew to Portugal last year, and that like kind of saved my butt. And I'm planning on doing the same thing this year, flying and going to ride actually in Morzine ahead of time, just because it's not like what we run at Windrock is not even relatable to a World Cup racetrack. And the only way to set a bike up is in a race scenario. And I don't feel the bike when I'm racing, but afterwards I can look at the race run and take some feedback out of it. And it's just like, if you don't race, you can't learn. And if you don't have, you know what I mean? So it's just, I mean, luckily things are not dramatically different, but also it's, the closer you get to the podium, it gets harder and harder. And it took me like an entire season last year to get there, right? To learn, make mistakes, set the bike up. And you see a lot of these dudes that have new bikes doing preseason races because of that. So, and flying around the world to like gnarly World Cup tracks to set them up. I wanted to do the BDS, but unfortunately couldn't get an entry. It's by the time I couldn't sign up with my USAC number, and by the time the race promoter got back to me, it was sold out. So I really would have liked to go to Fort William ahead of time, but I wouldn't have had the bike anyways. So it would have just been a trip to go ride something that isn't really applicable.
Yeah, do you think with that, like, kind of, you were touching on the tracks like not being rough enough or anything like that, but do you think some of that is caused from you knowing the tracks so well that you like can anticipate what the bike's going to do, where you almost need that like kind of lack of knowledge of a track to like put you into sketchy situations?
Yeah, absolutely. And Windrock, like, a lot of the stuff is machine built now. So the majority of the rocks
Okay.
and roots get taken out by the excavator. So that way it just becomes like this like small chatter slide fest. There's no big steps and
Okay.
big impacts. Like I don't have anything that can use full travel at Windrock. There's one spot that I think I can actually bottom my bike out on the mountain. So compared to
I feel like that's so much different than when we went there years ago.
yeah, for sure. It's
like-
definitely got more machine built over the years. But with that being said, even like those World Cup tracks are just so much gnarlier. Like you use so much more. I'll go to Mount St. Anne and my bike will bottom out 5 times a run. And it's like, you're never going to get that here. You're never going to get those speeds either. Like this place is steep and fast, but it's not even on the same level as a World Cup track. So no,
it's
for
not
sure.
open enough.
Which the machine built stuff to a degree does help bring the speed up and make it bumpy. But like I watched like dudes that are in Andorra right now just shredding and setting their bikes up, and there's like I'm not gonna fly to Europe until I have my race bike. So that's the plan, is to try to get ready for the race season. Go over and get busy.
That makes sense. I was kind of curious how come you and Aaron weren't going to these preseason races? I feel like Aaron historically has just kind of stayed in one spot in the off season, so that kind of made sense to me. But I was wondering why all these events we'll kind of touch on coming up here, you weren't at them, but that makes sense. Yeah, why go if you don't even have the bike you're going to be racing in the season?
Yeah, and at the same time, it takes budget to go to those races.
Yeah, totally.
And Aaron definitely historically and still does like to be at home when he's at home.
Yeah.
And Windrock is pretty close, which I think that's been even an improvement in his program, riding there and riding together quite a lot. But yeah, it's just flying to Europe right now is very expensive. And like to make a special trip to Europe just to ride, if you don't have to go over for something early, it's expensive.
Maybe kind of continuing on talking about AG a little bit. How much do you guys like go back and forth with bike setup and kind of comparing notes, or like even just writing and talking and stuff throughout the week? Like I think a lot of he's obviously been one of the dudes in the sport for so long. Like, do you try to lean on him at all for things, or is it pretty like, I don't know. I think, and kind of like you're commenting, like Aaron's it seems like he's in a different spot of his career than he was in the past. Like he's obviously moved to the other side of the country and like is doing a lot more like varied downhill riding in his off season. He's not just like shuttling the 3 downhill tracks in SoCal anymore. You know, he's definitely, I think he's maybe back then he didn't need to do that, and now he realizes the importance of it. But like, yeah, how's your guys' kind of relationship in the off season and this time of the year?
Yeah, I mean, we don't talk a ton. Like he did the national, but before the national he hadn't really rode. And then he did the national, and then he did the downhill southeast, and I didn't go over there for that. And then I seen him when he was here for the downhill southeast, just because I was testing that week. He hasn't rode downhill a ton, but I just think those dudes that have done it for so long, they don't really ride that. Like, I think it's the same with Menard. Like, he won't ride until the month before the race, and then he rides a ton and then goes and races. So Aaron lives in Nashville, and it's big travel for him, 3 hours for him to come ride. And I mean, my like training program has downhill 3 days a week. So I ride a ton, and I'm always like trying to progress the bike and stuff. And I've done a lot to learn about, you know, how I want the suspension to feel. And I think Aaron has, like, we're fully open with all of that. Like, he can ride my bike, he can ride my setup. Everything is like fully open. I don't try to keep any secrets from him whatsoever. Just because, like, I want the best for the dude. Like, if he's just the better man on the day, cool, like, right on. All the best, you know. I want to see him do well, just because we have a pretty good relationship. But yeah, we tested all last week, and it was great. He rode some of my settings, and we shared quite a lot, and got in a pretty good place with the suspension setup that we were both happy with. So yeah, I mean, there's not a ton we do in terms of training together or anything like that.
Yeah.
But we do ride downhill together when it fits, and I think we'll try to ride together this week.
Mm-hmm.
Sick. That's cute.
Yeah. And so how many bike parks you guys got close to you now? Like, there's like quite a bit within like a 4 to 5 hour range,
there's
right?
Jared's place, which I haven't been to. I would like to go. I think that place is supposed to be pretty sweet. And then Rock Creek is over in the Across, North Carolina. I've never been, but yeah, they have a couple downhill tracks over there. So for the most part, I just ride close to home. We can shuttle at TTC too, but you have to have someone to shuttle you, which I don't have anyone to shuttle me. Like I don't, especially during the week. So it's very convenient that I have Windrock. So that's my dog may bark here. Somebody just came in the house. So that's new problems, dude. So that's super convenient that we. Ooh, look at this coffee delivery. Ah,
What?
nice guy.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's my dude right there.
Is that
Ben
Ben?
Wilson photo in the house.
Yo.
Dang, can you deliver coffees to us? That looks good right now.
Dude, it's hitting. It is hitting. He came through with this one. But yeah, so I don't have anyone to shuttle me, and for the most part, I ride alone. Like I see all these dudes like motoing down on the weekends and having all these iPhone clips and riding with buddies. Dude, I do all my training by myself unless my girlfriend's around, which most of the time she gets off work at 5, gets home at 6. It's almost an hour drive in traffic, and then so she goes and does intervals at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night, and most of the time I'm done and working on the house. So I always ride by myself and rarely ever have anyone to shuttle me. Like I'm not gonna just drive a couple hours to go to a shuttle spot. I mean, I wish I could ride more tracks, but just with everything I have going on, like I have to keep things as convenient as possible.
Yeah, and you were saying like how people don't ride much in the off season, like the older people. I feel like you're kind of on that same program, but you just go 100.
Yeah, I was fully off the reservation there for a minute, dude. I was like not riding downhill. Like I had no interest all fall in riding downhill, just because like if I had a sick jump trail or something, I'd jump on my trail bike and go do jump trail laps. But we don't like it's like work riding here, and it's real rough. So I mean,
Dude, you got a sick pit bike track instead.
Dude, it's grown up right
Just ride the
now.
pitter, you know?
I mean,
put on the work
in
boots,
the off
hang
season,
some
just
sheetrock.
ride my dirt bike. Try to ride as much moto.
We know where your real priorities lie. This is just all a front for you to eventually be racing dirt bikes more.
Well, if you think about it, like I train on a bicycle all week. Like my trail rides are not like out with the boys, hanging out, slapping corners. I'm like staring at a heart rate monitor, doing intervals, and then you go to the gym, you do your intervals, you do pump track intervals or whatever. Most of the time you're so smoked, like you don't want to go ride for fun. And then on the weekend, if I'm not like, if it says downhill or moto, I'm always going to choose to go to ride moto, because that's like getting away from my job. That's like my weekend. Like, you work all week. The last thing you want to do is go to work on the weekend. So when it's close to the season, I ride quite a bit of downhill. But other than that, I'm trying to get on the dirt bike, just because that's like my time away. I'm still training and I'm still getting fitter and stronger, but it's not the same as like going and pounding downhill laps and looking at my timing system and messing with my suspension.
No, for sure.
Dude, yeah, because then there's people like Joe Breeden, like your teammate, who'll do like 100.
Yeah, the dude went to he did like 80 laps in a very short amount of time at in Portugal. Like the dude, he definitely rides, which we're the same trainer. So I would not like. I think he plans more trips to go, but I don't think it's really that different. Like we both ride a ton. When I go out and ride, I go out and ride. He's super analytical with the bike, and so we bounce ideas off each other, and he's super solid. But that dude works super hard. He's a cool dude too. So.
Speaking of all this off-season time and how little you ride your downhill bike, let's talk about everybody else getting all prepared and racing all off-season.
Dude, it seems like everybody's racing. Like There's like fully dudes having season enders before the season starts.
Dude, right? I mean, you
Jeez.
got to get out of the way, you know? I'd rather
it's
have
crazy.
my season ender preseason, and maybe I'll be back for the season.
They're just trying to, like, after ET and Barsha and everybody's out, they're just trying to slide in, get some podium bonuses at the end of the year.
Right? Yeah.
Dude,
I mean, all right, I made a bunch of notes about all these races that have happened, and we can touch on them as deep as we want. But I mean, shit, dude, there's like 5 or 6 rounds or races that have happened that have had quite a stacked field of World Cup athletes at them. I think the
Dude,
first
they're going
one
stir
was
crazy.
that.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Dudes are going stir crazy. They can't take it.
Dude, I mean, well, what usually racing World Cups starts in like March. There's like one standalone event, right? Isn't that typically how it goes?
Yeah, April
Or March, something like that.
late March, April.
I mean, we've got a few extra months in there that is typically not how it goes. And I think generally there's like one World Cup, another gap, and then we kind of get into summer. And this year it's just been, we're going to go right into like 3 rounds in a month or something, you know? But I mean, I think the first one was that Australian Open that I think it was at the Cannonball Fest or whatever it's called. But Jackson Goldstone, I think it was his first elite race, and he won, which like wasn't surprising, but it also was surprising for it to just like happen right off the bat, him to like go out and win an elite race.
Well, he won New Zealand right before that, New Zealand Open.
Oh, really? But like, I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm sure there probably was some fast dudes at that too. But I mean, like, and since then he's gone on to like, I think he was on the podium at that test event. He wasn't. I don't know what happened to him at that BDS round that was like a weekend or 2 ago. I don't think he was on the podium there.
I don't.
Anyways,
It doesn't. Yeah, on his Roots and Rain, it doesn't say he was there, but he also went to an urban race and got
that's
second.
right.
Sarah Baja.
hmm
Yeah.
I mean,
Red
the
Bull
kid's
one.
obviously good.
The dude's been all over the place.
Freaking Santa Cruz has, man. I mean, yeah, talking about the opposite of maybe kind of the program you and Aaron have been on, Dakotah, I feel like Santa Cruz was like, we got this new bike. It's exactly the same as the last one that just has a different C-post stay on it. Just kidding.
Dude, they have been doing some racing. New bike.
Yeah, they
set it
were,
up.
Southern Hemisphere, Europe, like all over the place. They were in California.
Central
Central
America.
America. I mean, it'll be, and Laurie Greenland has been going incredibly fast as well. I mean, he
Crazy.
won that BDS round at Fort Bill. So, I think it'll be very, very interesting how all of those dudes go. And I mean, I'm going all the way down to my very last notes here, but like, dude, Jackson and then Jordan Williams, like, we could probably talk about all last season how rad it's going to be to watch them race elites this year. And I can see Dakotah sweating right now because it's gonna be gnarly. Those dudes are freaking so fast. Like, I think it was at the test event that at Lords, like Jordan Williams, I think he qualified first, and then in his race run was seconds up on the whole field before like eliminating himself.
Did he have a big one?
Yeah. I feel like I was just telling Tanner about this crash. Did you go find the crash, Tanner?
Yeah. I feel like
It's pretty gnarly.
I'll try and pull it up again.
Somebody
but-
send me a link.
Yeah.
You know at Lords in the lower wood section, how you cross that road and like huck the flat off
Left
that rock.
hand. Yeah.
And the straightaway going into it's like pretty chopped out, kind of rocks and shit.
Yeah, it's very terrible.
He does like this gnarly gap and then kind of gets all bobbled and just like tucks the front wheel and body slams onto the road.
No.
He pretty much just jumps onto like the road.
It's
Dude, that's like a 10-foot drop onto
Dude,
that
it's-
road. It's like
pretty
jumping off the
gnarly.
house.
dude. He shoulders. I'm gonna try and send you this link. He shoulders the rock off of that
it's
road.
pretty
Like,
brutal. I
dude-
think he was okay, other than probably being pretty banged up. But regardless, like,
Yeah, it's in the chat.
dude, those two dudes are going to be really, really interesting because when I go through the other races that have happened this off season, you kind of have your usual names up there. And, you know, like all the Frenchies are looking quite fast and on pace like they usually are. I think even in like the elite women's field, it's sort of the same thing. Like you have your usual names up there, like Cami and Nina. But then you've got like Phoebe Gale and Gracie Hemstreet that are this like the same. You almost have the same situation of both elite classes. Like two juniors that were crushing the junior class are now in elites, and like, I mean, it kind of reminds me of Supercross, where it's like on any given weekend, the amount of people that are potential winners is like higher than I feel like it's ever been, and the pace looks higher than it's ever been. Like that was my main takeaway from the raw that we put out from Fort William, is I was just like, oh shit, everybody's going really, really fast, and it's like May. And I think the last World Cup's like October, so see if everybody can hang on all season, you know. But
yeah, especially with, it seems like they're trying to make the tracks straighter and faster. Like that's been the biggest takeaway from the last two races, is how fast the tracks have been.
That was actually a note I wanted to mention with like the test event at Lords is, did you chat with anybody who went there, Dakotah, and kind of get a gauge on how that went? And then also, like, I think probably the main thing everybody remembers is the different types of taping they were testing out, and they kind of had like your slalom-esque pillar dealios. Like, yeah, did you chat with anybody? What was the takeaway from the event?
Yeah, my coach was at both the BDS and at which they've started doing some track prep for Worlds at the BDS. And he was also at the test event, and he said both of those seemed like the tracks were much straighter and the speeds were much higher than before. And I think maybe that's one way they're trying to get around the 2-minute tracks, you know, trying to get the time down to get the whole track on video, is maybe just make the tracks faster rather than trying to find venues that have 2-minute tracks. So obviously I can't speak on that or what the plans are for that, but it just seems like the tracks are straight and the speeds are high from what I can tell, and that's what I'm trying to prepare for.
Did you get a gauge on what people thought of having the semifinals and finals? Did you hear anything about that? Like,
yeah, it was like
seem to run smoothly?
roughly a 1 hour turnaround from semis to finals. So essentially, go down, you got 30 minutes to mess with the bike or whatever, go straight back up and barely warm up and hit it. So
is that not enough time?
I mean, I think it's going to be between 1 and 2 hours from what I've been told. For me, I think it's good because I don't struggle with arm pump and I'm fairly fit, and I think that I can, even though my World Cup results have not exactly been consistent, I think that I can ride consistently pretty fast. Maybe is it a little harder for me to find that magic and shift into that next gear to like put on these like incredible on the edge performances? Like, yeah, for sure. But I mean, I'm happy about it. I think it's good. And then I'm trying to prepare for more consistency with my bike setup, and then also like try to avoid mechanicals, like, and primarily flat tires, but also just being able to get that amount of runs done. I think riding downhill becomes super important to ride more because we're going to be riding more at each of the races.
What about just like, I'm just thinking about, you know, if I was going to show up at Lenzerheide.
Caught in the tape. New tape. Dude's getting caught in the new tape.
Oh, well, I mean, hold on. We'll go to the tape in a second. But what's like, how do you feel going into Lenzerheide racing a format that you never have? Like, I know it's, you know, you have no option, but like, does that add any anxiety or nerves? Just kind of like, all right, the first go around trying to do this format is when it counts, or is it just whatever?
I mean,
is what it is.
What it is. I think it's interesting that none of the downhill
Godspeed.
racing has changed in America, just because I don't think we can do that. Like, how would you have amateur and professional racing in a day and put a semifinal in there? Which changes.
Yeah, you got to move like pro to its own day almost.
Yeah, it's like how that changes the whole. And I don't think it's really like sat in for people either. Like, people really understand what this does to the sport, because I think a lot of the younger dudes have been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go race the World Cups this year, or like up and coming Americans, like, and it's just like, I don't think people even realize that, like, for a lot of people, the like World Cup dream is like over. Like, you're not gonna do it the way I did it anymore, and just show up and try to qualify. And it's like, why would you even go if only 30 people race? Like, why would you even try to go race in? I mean, I don't think I would, just because it's like, when I started, it was 80, and it was like way more achievable. So, and then how do you prepare for that if you can't race two race runs in a day? Like, how? What? Like, I don't really.
Yeah, if you never have the opportunity to do it until you're in like what is going to be the most high stress race probably of your career up to that point.
Yeah.
Although I will say, like, I mean, I never raced top 60. I only raced when it was top 80 qualifying. And I feel like the headspace and the mentality of our group of friends at that time was that it was like extremely tough, and it was going to be like the biggest challenge just to even be there for finals. And I kind of feel like it might be harder maybe for, you have like a few Americans right now that are just starting to get their feet wet with World Cups and are on that cusp. I think it's probably hardest for them right now. But if you take like that Asa Vermette kid, and he has a couple of years before he's racing World Cups, he'll go into it with that being the new norm, and it'll just sort of feel like this is the bar set here, and that's what I have to achieve. Like the same as when it was 80, you know. And I don't know, maybe I don't disagree that I actually haven't really put much thought into the fact that now that World Cups change, like I can hear my voice. Can you hear? Oops, sorry.
Yeah, I can hear your voice.
Back with the audio.
Can we plug back in? But no, just that with the format changing at the elite level, but if the amateur level of racing throughout the world remains the same, that's definitely a different dynamic, like a much different dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, even when they had qualifying at our national rounds, remember that when they did
everyone would freak out.
Yeah,
they'd be like, I came so far from this, and I'm not going to be able to race. I'm like, bro, you drove here.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that drive was 50 hours.
That's true, but that was our own mistake.
Yeah, I think it's just more like for like a dude like Chris Grice or even Austin Dooley. Like, when I talked to Dooley, he was out here. He's like, dude, like, it's a, you know, it's going to be really hard, just because everyone's going to like be going so hard to try to make it in. You know, everyone's going to kind of have that fear of not being in there. So it's definitely going to step up the sport, and you're going to have to send it. But there's not really a way to prepare for it, unfortunately.
Totally. Well, and I think of Austin Dooley, Dante Silva, Chris Grice, like, I think of those dudes as, yes, they're maybe like on the bubble a little bit with getting into that top 30 finals. But I would say that this offseason, they've all been looking really good, and it makes me think that, you know, another year racing World Cups under their belt from last year. It seems like they've all had pretty solid off seasons. I think they're all on the same bike brand like consecutive years now. Like, I feel like my hope is that, yeah, it might be a little nerve-wracking with some changes and like their result sheet. If they look back on it, they've been kind of on the bubble now, but I think they'll be okay. They just all seem like they're continuing to like fine-tune their racecraft along with just continuing to go faster. So shout out to all of them. I'm stoked to watch dudes like that race, because like you kind of have your racers for the podium. You have, you know, like dudes like yourself, where it's like high excitement at the top, but then there's like, you know, there is this huge group of riders that it's gonna be really interesting each week, kind of which names make it through, because it's not going to be everybody like it has been.
Sure,
So
it might not even be everybody like it has been for top dudes. Like, it's going to be much different.
dude, even top 60, the amount
Yeah.
of names you would read past 60th place was, and you'd recognize as like, oh, that's there's so-and-so, there's so-and-so, you know? It's like, oh shit, I ain't doing this again, that's for sure. Ain't catching me out there. Catch me way outside of the top 60.
All the way out.
All right, yeah, let's talk about course tape. Did you hear anything about that? I mean, all I saw is that there's like slalom. We're racing slalom at downhill now, and then there's course tape that can decapitate you because it can't break. But without just sound like I'm talking shit, it seemed like they were taping different sections different ways to get a gauge on what people thought of it. Like, it was a test event, you know? It's not, I think everybody just saw on the internet and was like, oh my god, this is how it's gonna be, like, what the heck? Like, no, it's all, I mean, it's one of those will probably be a reality.
Honestly, it would be sick if they just did slalom and we just no tape as wide as you can go, like, get
Really?
in it. I think it'd be kind of cool. Like, but at the same time, it's super hard for me to like race without tape. Like, even riding on the weekends, like without tape on each side of you, it feels so weird to go fast in that environment, unless I've rode the track like a million times, like I have here. Where you go to a new bike park and try to ride really fast on one trail and there's no tape, it's just really bizarre feeling. And I think it'll also feel that way racing at a World Cup, but we're gonna find out. I mean, I would say that the amount of people that got stuck in the yellow and red tape would pretty much eliminate it. Also, the fact that it would eliminate you if you get loose and go through it. So,
make downhill dangerous again. You know, I'm all for it.
we're living life on the edge.
Oh my god, the amount of downhill races in the U.S. that have had fucking pieces of rebar with the PVC pipe over it on like the inside of corners, it's too damn high, you know?
Yeah, live your life out
Dude, that and the lack of tree pads in the U.S.
Dude, that is a severe problem. And the like how?
Yeah.
This is not okay.
No.
Like, have you ever hit one of those things? Like, it is not good.
Yeah. Tree pads are necessary. Same with catch nets on steep tracks.
Catch nets
I
are
just
dope.
think overall racing in America, the safety is not.
You would think that with it being the U.S., it would have some safety to it, but there is a severe lack of safety.
Yeah, what do you think
for
that liability waiver is 20 pages long?
Dude, it's dangerous. Super dangerous. I mean, I'm very well. I mean, that can. I hear maybe another talking point, but just I'm big on that. And I like, everybody acts like I'm kind of a pain, but I'm like, dude, this is not acceptable. Like, but maybe it's just because I know how fast I'm gonna have to race to win, and I'm not gonna not race to win, and I'm always like really picky about like, this is not okay. Like, trees cannot be sticking out underneath the course tape. Like, there can't be things that are gonna like literally impale you. It's just unacceptable.
Like cut logs and stuff that are like sticking out from the course tape, like into the track.
Dude, no, not okay. Usually, if you bring it up, most of the event promoters are pretty cool with trying to accommodate. Like, this is, and a lot of them, I just think like are just core downhill dudes that just don't. They're like, oh yeah, it's gnarly, woo, and I'm like, no, I'm trying to make a career here and not get killed.
I've definitely remember conversations with like, trail crew people at races in the years past of like, they're like, yeah, how's the track? And I'm like, I mean, I guess it's sick. Like, it's kind of gnarly, or like you probably use a little bit of love here and there. And they're like, oh yeah, like we haven't ran it. No one's ridden it since the race last year. And I'm like, and we just taped it. I'm like, that's not a good thing, you know? Like, a good track isn't a gnarly track the entire way with no like love given here and there. But
there is like a better way to figure out who is the best bike rider than taking the most amount of risk possible. Like, hit me with a couple chicanes. If there's something that's abnormally dangerous, like just hit me with a couple flat corners before it, please. Please.
Yeah. Scrolling through the bullet points. Oh, let's give a shout out to Nico, because he went down super hard at the Tennessee National, and I believe it was like his pelvis or like his hip socket that he broke. But I saw him at Sea Otter, and he was like walking around with like those forearm crutches, which was rad, because it wasn't, I think now he's maybe 7-8 weeks or so out of surgery. A bummer, because his like frameworks program has got a lot of steam behind it, and people are invested, not like money wise, but like invested in watching his program succeed. And but it looks rad. He's got some Groms racing his bikes, so yeah, hope he keeps coming around. Hopefully, maybe we'll see him back like the end of the year or something. His crash was gnarly. I like was just scrolling Instagram and was just like thought it was going to be like a normal practice clip, and then it's just like bodied into a corner. I was like, oh my god, that's not what I wanted to watch right now.
I did not need to see
no, because I don't think his caption was anything too gnarly or whatever. I mean, super big bummer. Crazy he actually has it like on video. It's not always how that goes. But I have a question.
I was gonna say on that though, before we move on, Asa Vermette on Nico's bike.
Oh, dude, we can.
Kid was definitely.
We can go into that kid whenever.
Kid got third at the Downhill Southeast and flipped over the bars in his race run. It was like 2 seconds off Richie.
Dang. And he's still got another.
I think he's 15, 16
in the juniors.
I think his racing age class
he's
is
still
15,
got another
16 still. I have my list of U.S. racers. Asa Vermette is one of them, but then there's also that Nate Kitchen and Ryder Lawrence, who like, there's probably other, I'm calling them like super Groms, even though like I think some of them are juniors right now, but I feel like it's rad to see names that might not be in the scene as much, so I'm sure they've been around for a little bit, but like they're definitely stirring some shit up and like going really fast. I mean, didn't Asa, he won the Downhill Southeast at Rock Creek? Is that where it was? I mean,
straight up won.
Dude.
Yeah, beat Luca.
The photo of that podium looks so funny to me because it's like adults and then just like a little child standing higher than them. But I watched the Downhill Southeast coverage from Winrock the other weekend, which shout out to them for like putting together pretty sweet race recaps of like the pro fields. And yeah, that was the race where he like flips the bars mid rock garden and then still got like third or fourth. But like, that's my first time watching some of those riders like actually ride, and they're so fast, like so incredibly quick for like your next gen. Like it makes me think about, like we were growing up, like there was like the generation kind of right below us that were like, oh yeah, they're pretty quick, and like, that's Dooley and Dante and Nick Nestroff, like all those kids now, like they are incredibly fast and going out and doing stuff. But like, dude, these kids seem even faster than before. I don't know. It's
that
crazy.
SoCal crew is loose. That Ryder Lawrence kid, Kai, like, dude, crazy fast. That Ryder Lawrence kid flipped a step up at Windrock and whip off. And I'm literally, it's got a booter on it. I'm afraid to hit it. He flipped it in the day before the race.
Is he the one who's got some like BMX skills
so
too?
Gnarly. Got BMX
Randy
skills.
Lawrence's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kid, those kids were super impressive when they were out here for the national. Definitely like not down with the mud, but very pinned in practice, absolutely on the limit and putting down pretty impressive times too. So it's cool to see. Like the future is looking bright, and that Asa kid is super fast.
Yeah, crazy. And he's from
it's a kid that lives in the snow.
Is he he's from Colorado?
He's from Colorado.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Wild.
He's already on that Menard program. Doesn't ride his bike all winter and then just shows up at the race.
Well, what I kept thinking about is I don't know what Nico's bike weighs, but I'm sure it's not that light. and Asa's like,
dude, it's got DVO suspension on it too.
yeah, I mean,
Like, thing can't be
well,
that
and
light.
Asa's, like definitely still he looks like a younger kid still. He's still got a few years to like age and stuff and grow up. And I was just like, how the fuck is he riding this bike so fast? I can barely hold on to an e-bike these days, and like,
Bro, pinned every run too.
Really?
It's not just like he's like winging it once. Like that kid has one speed and one speed only, and it is full laps as fast as he can possibly go.
impressive. It's very impressive.
Sick, super sick, because he looks good, and he's not like there's definitely in the new generation of Grom some dudes that are like hitting the steering stop a couple times in a run, and that kid is like in control, composed. I mean, granted, like he crashed at the downhill southeast, but it was like a pretty freak.
Yeah, it looked really weird.
Crash. But he's not like just looking like out of control. Like he's like composed and riding really well, which is sick to see.
I think it's like a lot of those Groms though have good style, good form, good technique,
It's Striders, man.
and like not terrible style. Because, like there'd be so many people when we were even when we were racing like 16, 17, and they're just terrible style, but they're still going fast.
Yeah,
myself included. Like
pedaling everywhere, just pedaling.
I have terrible form, like terrible technique, but you just got to make it work. You got to work with what you got at some point.
Run what you brung. Hope you brung enough.
Yeah. But these kids nowadays, it's like watching Chase Sexton versus like Anderson. Like, you're like, he's got good form, has these weird crashes, but like, he's got good technique and he's going fast and it's not sketchy.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be really interesting. I don't know. I think Ryder Lawrence is also he's still too
16.
young. And I don't know what that Nate Kitchen, what his plan is for racing this year. Like, I know he's on KHS and was just out doing like the BME and Arkansas and stuff, but like, when any of those dudes go to World Cups, it'll be really exciting because, we kind of, sorry for any American juniors who are racing this year, but like we kind of had a wave that has kind of came through juniors the last couple of years, and it seems like there's another pretty strong wave coming up. So that will be really sweet. All right, is there anything else? Sort of just get towards wrapping this up. Oh, Lucas Shaw, 7th at Fort Bill last weekend. Shout out to him because he broke his thumb in January and had to have surgery on it. And impressive. I know it's been a few months, but looks like he's back up to speed, which is sick. Looks like him and Dante have been training and riding a bunch, and I'm hoping that kind of benefits both of them.
Yeah.
Dakotah's texting.
I'm looking through our bulletin points.
Oh,
trying to just I'm working, dude.
That's insane because I make these notes for anybody to look at, but I definitely never expect Dakotah to look at them.
Dude, we are way off the bulletin. We've been way off we're just doing it again.
It's not
We've
there
done it again.
It's not there to go from question 1 to 12. It's there so that hopefully we touch on everything, and maybe every now and again I can kind of keep us on track.
I think here's one. Loic and Finn. No, not Finn. Loic and Jordan Williams, both with flat tires at the BDS. Both of them hauling seemed like they were riding very good, but both had flat tires, which I find is quite interesting. I think Loic in the past historically has run Cushcore or some sort of a tire insert, but I know he's definitely been on Cushcore in the past.
He also runs really low tire pressure.
He does do that and really loose spokes. So he's done a lot of
not a small human, as we've noted in previous podcasts.
He's a big boy. And so Jordan Williams rides pretty heavy as well.
He's got some big quads too.
I'm going to let you guys keep talking on this topic and use the bathroom real quick. Keep it going.
All right.
Dang, the boss is gone. Let's get wild. But I thought that was quite interesting. And something like going into the season with more runs Hopefully they get that sorted out. I don't know if they're on specialized tires or if they're
I was wondering that if
using a
they're
variety of different tires. I think last year they were primarily running the specialized tire.
Yeah, no, they've been on specialized tires, Maxxis tires, like kind of a little bit all over the place. But Dak, I think you're kind of cutting.
Are we losing Dakotah right now?
Yeah, you're getting throttled right now. We were talking about the BDS and how gnarly some of those, like the Vital Raw, like how fast everyone's going.
This could have been a podcast just talking about every clip in that video, because I was like halfway through it and I was getting anxious. I was like, I'm nervous to watch everybody racing this year.
Yeah, like the clips of Lori, just like we were just talking about, like off the ground everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
He was
very jackrabbity,
just floating, bouncing around. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm not stoked that Dakotah just pieced out.
Yeah.
Well, going through last notes here as
I feel like
what?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say like Reese Wilson.
Yep, that was the last thing I was going to touch on. I don't really know when that happened, because he just like posted a video like whatever it was 10 weeks post injury, but
yeah, I was hanging out with him a bit after he got surgery.
Oh really?
And yeah, he was definitely a sad pup, but it seems like he's back to doing.
Did he
some
do that
stuff.
riding moto when he was in SoCal?
He did it doing something.
Yeah, he fucking sounds like he like annihilated his leg.
But
I mean, the tibia plateau fracture, I'm pretty sure, is what Dennis did at our test sessions last year. And that is like not something you want to do. I mean, it's like a year recovery, you know?
Yeah. My oldest brother did it, like riding moto a while ago. And yeah, it's like non-weight bearing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And
like a really long time.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so, but I mean, the good thing is that there are 3 races and then a break. So I don't know if he'll be back for, like, oh, he's back.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about Reese Wilson.
I was gonna say, I don't know if. Yeah,
that's a bummer.
Yeah, but the good thing is like there is a 3 race and then the break and then races again. So I would imagine he'd probably be back at least for that second half of the season.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, it is he said he was feeling really good he touched his bike once in the off season and felt really, really good before he had his accident. And so he like knows that his like pace is there, at least last time I spoke with him. So it was, he'll be back to it. Definitely a big bummer though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
hopefully he's back going good for Fort William. Hold it down for the homeland,
dude. Yeah, you're much more optimistic than I am. I mean, granted, I don't know the extent of his injuries, but the list he rattled off was pretty disheartening. So I hope he's getting into PT and all that, and it's going well, because he had a rough year last year, dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's just been out of it, you know.
Dude, the last couple.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, should we touch on who we think's looking hot going into Lenzerheide other than Dakotah? The obvious.
I'm ready.
Who are you most worried
don't
about, Dakotah?
Me?
Yeah, like who do you think's going to be like the fastest?
There's some usual subjects in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got the kids that have now turned into adults and are hauling. You got Loic Bruni, who is seeming to be riding a hovercraft. Laurie Greenland, who his bike actually is a hovercraft. He just like bounces down the track. He's hauling. You know the norms. I'm sure Loris Vergier is going to come out of nowhere and put 3 seconds into me like he's on a Sunday cruise.
Mm-hmm. That is his go-to.
Yeah, he's pretty good at that. Dude, honestly, I don't know. I think that there's definitely going to be some heavy hitters. Aaron is riding. I rode with Aaron this weekend, and he was going very fast, which is scary because he's absolutely ripping. So it'd be cool to see Aaron win a couple World Cups next year. It'd be cool to win a couple World Cups next year, and then the rest of the boys can win whatever they want.
That'd be cool.
I like that. I quickly tried to look up Lenzerheide here on Roots and Rain, and it looks like Amory won last year. Is that right? I think so. And
with a side of sliding out on wood.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about it. You want to talk about it? Yeah.
Hey, you should feel good going into Lenzerheide then.
Buddy. Last time I was there, I was in a pile of splinters in my butt.
As long as you're just not on the ground, on the floor of the pit, freaking out again.
I'm probably going to be on the floor of the pit. It's the first World Cup. I'm probably going to be a mess. The goal is to race at 90%. Dude, the sunglasses got exploded at Andorra. I just hope that we have no mechanical issues and like I can just race at 90%, try to chill out a little bit and ride smooth and fast. That's the goal. That's the whole MO. 2024, I always say this, it's a new, more consistent version of myself that I'm just going to not let my emotions get the best of me and I'm just going to hang out and let it happen. Be what is it Aaron likes to say? Be content with the effort in which you give.
I like that. Maybe that's just how we leave it.
Yeah, life's a passion project.
Life is a passion project.
Well, I think we could probably list off about 15 people in every class that'll have a pretty good shot of winning. So we'll just let things play out in a month from now.
How they will.
I think if for anybody who's wondering, Lenzerheide is roughly the 15th to the 18th. I don't know what the actual schedule is, like if it's starting Thursday to Saturday or Wednesday to Saturday, or
is it? I thought it was earlier than that. The 10th to 11th.
I don't think that's Lenzerheide, is it?
Or on Roots and Rain, it says 10th to 11th.
Is that not last year?
No, it's 2023.
Well, check the description below. I'll get the correct dates in there. Dakotah's really the one who should be chiming in right now. He's the only one fucking going. So
I literally have no idea. I just know when my flight leaves. And
UCI says June 9th to 11th.
all right, my dates are wrong.
That sounds right.
Hey, Dak had a birthday not too long ago also, so we'll have to say happy belated birthday to Dak.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm now a older, wiser version of myself. I'm 31 years young.
Damn.
I know I'm old as dirt, dude.
I think you're my oldest friend.
Really? that really hurts my feelings.
I'm just joking. Well, I guess we'll just see everybody in about a month. We're going to have to really, really be on our shit to actually sit down after the race and record these.
Yeah.
So
We've got 3 weeks back to 2 weeks back to back.
Once you pass 30, you no longer go to the after party, so there's no issues there. Unless I win, then I will burn Lenzerheide down. But
do I need to be figuring out getting you some sort of hotspot shit, or we already discussed that your phone should work much better this year because you have an international phone?
I hope it's going to work well. Yeah.
All right.
I think the phone. And will I see you at Mountain Creek Bike Park, boys? Are you going to come? Coming to Mountain Creek this year?
No.
Wow.
Is there a snowshoe World Cup?
Wow.
That I would really like to go to.
I would like to go to the snowshoe.
The one race, the best race of the year, that has the jump trail, and you guys don't come.
I know.
You guys don't even have to race. Let's just come out like as a boys trip. I know you guys all have jobs and stuff, but like just book a last minute plane ticket for a long weekend, and we can do some runs.
I have work that weekend.
I have work every weekend. I don't want to hear it.
I'd rather try to figure out going to snowshoe.
I want to figure that out.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd just like to see you guys this year. You know.
Let's figure it out.
That'd be cool.
Now that your house is done, no excuses. It's off season.
I got the guest loft is now done. You guys are
Crankworks?
ready whenever.
Crankworks.
I think I will be in the U.S., but I don't know if I will be going. I would like to go.
If Dak goes
Super
to Crankworks,
fun.
I'll go to Crankworks.
Depends. Let's just see how my year goes. Like if the first run in Europe is good and things are on track, I probably won't go. But if things are not going well and I need to just really hit the reset button and have myself a week, couple of beers. Oh, just fully hit reset. Just go ride my bike all week. Go to Crankworks and not race anything. Just
That's
go
the key.
just for a reset of the brain. I reckon 2 nights in Whistler, I can system reboot.
System reboot. Hard reset.
Hard reset.
Man, I have such mixed feelings on how I want your next month to go now. Being selfish, but
Oh man, there has been times in my career where I've had to hit the reset button. So hopefully things go
miss
smooth.
those years.
Yeah.
Remember when you used to live in Whistler for part of your summer?
Yeah, it was a good time. I lost a lot of money.
Well, you're super good at that. You've already been doing that.
Yeah, I'm the best at that. Money management is my strong suit.
Oh my god. I'll go buy you some money management books. I'll send them to your house. FedEx delivers.
It hurts so bad. But yeah, dude, I think that things are looking really good. Really good. So hopefully, I mean, there's a bright side. If I go crack a couple of World Cup podiums off, I'll have a little bit of extra spending cash. I might have a mid-season vacation in Whistler.
Yes. Or
Little
you
vacay
just
with the
come
boys.
You could, or come to San Diego for 3 days. Whatever.
Dude, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
I was supposed to come out this spring, but unfortunately, you see here the way my life works is nobody seems to want to finish the jobs I paid them to do. So I'm still in house hell. Soon, boys.
But-
Soon.
You're in the house now, so
Yes, I'm actually in house hell. That's the thing.
it's just
Can you, if Ben's staying with you or whoever, just toss them $50 to make a vloggy house tour so that we can put one of these up with these podcasts? We've talked so much about your house, but there's just nothing to go with it. People have no idea what it looks like.
well, if you plug at Dak Norton YouTube channel, there's a house building.
There's a house build
video
blog.
on there.
Yeah.
I watched it. It was you outside digging holes, was it not?
Yeah,
Or
usually.
was there more than one video? I literally
like an
watched
episode
it
of
and I was like,
Holes.
sorry, I'm not posting this. It's not that exciting.
I wanted you to post the World Champs one.
I did post it.
Such a jerk.
You can't want me to post something and then your action be thinking about wanting me to post it. You gotta fucking send me the links, bro.
Dude, I am looking. I'm going to put out a PSA, an advertisement. I am hoping to do more YouTube stuff. I would like to YouTube more, and I am looking for a YouTube filmer. I can't do everything, unfortunately. I may be the fastest general contractor in Anderson County, but I cannot be a general contractor, World Cup downhill racer, part-time professional motocross racer, and YouTuber.
Wait, okay, how much money did you make racing dirt bikes this offseason?
Dude, I can go race 30 plus in 450 Pro Sport and make more in a day than I can win at a U.S. National.
Give us some numbers. What'd you clean up with this offseason?
Contingency or cash?
Both.
So here's the thing with my semi-professional motocross career. I'm not professional. It takes 60 professional motocross points to get your license to race an outdoor national. I currently have 38 points in 2 races. But you see here, I was working on my house and didn't moto down. But I, in one weekend, made over $1,000 in contingency from KTM. which is pretty cool. And then like if you win 450 Pro Sport, one moto pays like $800, which I did not win, but I got 10th in Pro Sport out of like so they had heats to get into the second moto, and then all the points were paid on the second moto because I think the gate is like 40 dudes, and there was like 57 dudes in 450A. So I like got 10th in the second moto, and that like paid. I think it was like I didn't get contingency because contingency only pays out the top 3 in Pro Sport, but I think I made like $600 or something. And then I crashed in the 2-stroke money moto, but Burkeen made like $8,000, I think, off winning the 2-stroke money moto at Muddy Creek, which is pretty impressive. But they'll pay like 25 plus will usually pay out pretty well.
So I have this hopes and dreams of getting some Vital merch going again, and I just thought of one where it'll be like, it might be white, or maybe it'll be like a construction orange or green, and the front will be a little chest patch that says Norton Construction, and on the back it'll say Norton Construction real big, and then underneath it'll say fastest general contractor in Anderson County, with like a photo of you, like a silhouette of you like doing a whip with like a tool belt on or something.
I should get that made. That's funny. Norton, just a Norton. Get some folks out in some like flow yellow Norton Construction t-shirts.
No, straight up. I think that would be
construction
amazing.
Vests at the World Cups.
Dude, we should do some merch. That would be sweet.
You know,
I need a graphic designer because I also cannot be a YouTuber, mountain bike racer, a contractor, and a graphic designer. Unfortunately, I'm trying to be the one-man show, but I cannot keep up. Also looking for a graphic designer for my merch line, guys. I would like a Norton Pacifico themed shirt.
Oh, I could do that.
You could do that?
Yeah. It wouldn't be that difficult.
Norton Vesa, Oliver Springs, Tennessee. Norton Vesa, okay. Oliver Springs.
I'm pulling the plug on this recording.
Yeah, we gotta get off, dude. Let these people go back to their day.
All right. Well, we can keep chatting after this, but yeah, dude, we got a month left. First World Cup, new format, bunch of new elite racers. Yeah, Dakotah's hitting Europe soon. Big shout out to Maxis, BergTech, Industry 9. Thank you for supporting this and letting us chat downhill racing. And we'll see everybody in less than a month. Cool beans. Wow. Peace.
Vital's B Practice podcast is proudly sponsored by Maxis, BergTech, and Industry 9.